Right, so Jenna and Craig, let's start by talking a bit about you guys and, how long you've been together and your life before fostering. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we've been together about 14, 15 years now.
Wow.
We've been married 5 years.
Yeah.
We got married in Vegas 5 years ago,
Wow.
which was great. We've got our own birth daughter. She's 9. Jump in.
Yeah, we met on a night out, didn't we? It was like through mutual friends.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of went from there. We went out a couple of times, didn't we? And it just kind of spiraled. You still remember the first film we went to see? It was our first date.
What was that?
It was a scary film, and he doesn't like scary films either, so it was definitely my choice. It was, I can't remember what it was called.
It was Renée Zellweger.
Yeah, Renée Zellweger in it, but yeah, it was definitely my choice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So was, a family and having young people and children like always on the cards for you guys? Is it what you both always wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always knew we wanted children. We had Riley before we got married and things like that. And I think you wanted more children than one. But we were happy with one. She was first grandchild, granddaughter, so spoilt rotten.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we definitely always thought we wanted a family. And I've always worked with children, so definitely wanted to have, children in our family.
I think from my point of view, it was like, when we got together, we very quickly went on our first holiday, very quickly moved in together within 12 months. We were living together. And it just, I knew it was always going to like spiral into having a family, and that was always going to be the goal, to have a family. I think at the time we did say we'd like to have more children, but I think as time went on, we just like, no, we're going to put it off. We didn't want to have so close together.
Yeah.
And then as Riley got older, we were kind of like, no, we're happy with the way it is and the setup we've got. And it wasn't until about she got to about 6 or 7, we started thinking about moving into fostering.
Yeah, so fostering is a relatively new thing for you guys. 18 months, is it? So tell us about how that came about then.
I think the way I remember it, and you might change the story a bit, but the way I remember it was during the pandemic, and we'd actually the things about having another child had kind of cropped back up, and we both decided that we didn't want to go through the whole having another child and going down you being pregnant and things like that again. But we wanted to see what we could do with children, as in, can we care for someone? We looked at it like
at adoption.
Yeah,
would
be good for adoption. And then that's when the fostering came up. So pretty much we had a little Google, didn't we? And we very quickly we'd applied with Fostering Solutions, and we got a phone call back like quite quickly, and the process started, didn't it? And everyone was just lovely. Everyone you spoke to about it was just
really
it's a great thing to
supportive. Yeah, like we never felt that we didn't have enough information. We were always given as much information. Anything we asked was answered, and we just felt like it was right for us.
Yeah. And can you remember how that felt at the beginning, where you're like, you just started this process, the balls started rolling. Like, how did you feel?
I think we were nervous, weren't we? I think as well with the pandemic, so I work as a dance teacher at my own school. I work as head of a school. And with the pandemic, obviously everything closed down. So we had more time to think about it then. I wasn't working as much. I was doing online classes and things. And we just thought, this is the right time now. And we looked into the adoption, and I said, no, I think fostering, and we knew people who had fostered as well. And we just wanted to help as many children as we could, really, and thought that's probably the right way to go about it. And I think we were nervous because it was we were thinking, how is it going to impact our lives? Are we going to have to, stop working? Are we going to, reduce hours?
Yeah, I think partway through the process, you start thinking as well, is it right for me? Because you start going, I was saying then, how's it going to impact us? And you start overthinking it, I think, a little bit, but you kind of pass through that, and no, this is what I want to do, and this is the right thing. So you're 100% full steam going into it, aren't you?
Yeah, so you started that process with Fostering Solutions. So what happened next then? What was the assessment process like? How long did it take? Tell us a bit about that.
It was about 9 months in
Yeah.
total, wasn't it?
I mean, I think you can. It can be quicker. You have to have. Obviously, they look at your background. It's not just about you. It's about your family, and they interview members of your family, and they go into like your history as well. I think like so. You know, it was nice. Sometimes you really got to know.
I was going to say what one main memory I've got of the process was we spent about 6 hours on a Zoom meeting with the lady who was like going through our assessment with us, and it was dedicated like 2.5, 3 hours each of your history, your background, how you were with your grandparents, how you were with your parents, what you remember from when you were growing up. And it's strange because you could, like Jenna said, you could sit and listen to it for ages. So I spent like 2.5 to 3 hours listening to what you were saying about growing up. And it's stuff like that you probably don't speak about normally. Like, you might get snippets or like little family stories and stuff like that, but sit and listen for like a full 3 hours, you pick up all kinds, and it was just so much.
Did you feel that was quite a nice sort of bonding process for you as a married couple to learn things about each other that you didn't know?
Oh,
yeah.
There was times you were crying during that. I remember, like, because you were talking about like your nan.
You're reminiscing. You know, when my granddad, I was very, very close with my granddad, and you know, you talk about memories that you had before, you know, he's passed away now. So it brings all these emotions to the surface as well. And, but as well, I said to you, I feel like I've learned so much about you, because not that you're a close person, but you don't, you know.
Yeah, I think it's things like my grandparents had all died by the time I'd met Jenna, so I'd never spoke about them because she'd never met them. So I was having to go into that then about talking about their backgrounds, you know. My nan on my mum's side was born in Ireland and moved over, and the fact that my granddad had died when my mum was a baby and stuff like that. So it's stuff that I'd never spoken about. She didn't even know my nan was Irish, but it's like it's just little things, little family history that comes up.
And did that feel like quite a healing process really for you both?
In a way, yeah. It was like you just get to know more about each other, and you can understand probably each other a bit more, I think.
Yeah. So then after that, you know, that assessment process, can you remember the moment that you were told, you know, this is it, like it's happening, you've been approved? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, it was round about my birthday, wasn't it, as well? And it was in the March.
1st of March. It was the 1st of March.
1st of March, a bit earlier.
2022.
But yeah, because you do like the training and things like that. But then when you go to panel and you get approved, it is a good feeling, isn't it? Like you're very proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Because we were just coming out of like lockdowns and the pandemic and stuff. The panel date, we didn't have to attend in person. So we were on Zoom for about 15-20 minutes, just talking to people. We classed them as professionals. I was like, you know, someone who was an ex-police officer, someone who'd been through foster care themselves, people who were obviously quite knowledgeable about it, and it was a bit intimidating, wasn't it? But then we got a phone call about 2 or 3 hours later and just said you've been approved, and it was just, it's like this whole weight just lifts,
yeah.
and it's like everything's just amazing.
Sorry to interrupt you. It is an intense process, so I think it is like that relief as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were very proud of ourselves.
Yeah, I think first thing we done, we went round to the pub round the corner, and we got ourselves some dinner and a little drink to celebrate.
To cheers,
so we had a couple of hours just having a nice meal together. And that was it, wasn't it? And then we were told it'd be a couple more weeks till things happen, because you know it's got to be signed off.
Yeah. And was it?
Yeah, it was
it was
2 to 3 weeks. But as soon as we got told it had been signed, the call started coming, and it was like, we've got a referral, would you be able to? And it was scary, wasn't it, at first, because you're having to weigh up, would this be the right fit? Can I look after this child? So that was a scary moment, the realization that I'm doing this now.
Yeah. And what was it like for your birth daughter as well? Because, you know, of course she's 9. You know, how did she feel about it all? And was she a big part of the assessment process?
Oh yeah, I mean, like they did interviews with her, and but the way they went about it as well, they made like it fun. It was like interactive things, you know, like games and activities, you know, as they were doing this discussion, rather than just sitting on Zoom and things like that and talking to the camera. But she's always been a big part of it, and she's brilliant, isn't she? She really, really is. She takes everything in her stride, and I think because she is an only child as well, she sees the children that we look after, she sees them as part of our family. And she takes on that big sister role, which
Yeah.
is so nice to see. And she's so proud of it as well. And she tells people what we do. And she she says, refers to herself as a foster carer, doesn't she, as well?
Yeah.
She says, but she loves it. She's brilliant.
She's just so inquisitive as well. So during the process, she just asked all kinds of questions.
Yeah.
I think at the time as well, wasn't there an advert to come on?
Oh yeah, the
about
Christmas advert.
Yeah, was that just after we'd been approved? The Christmas after we got approved. Yeah, they had that. Was it John Lewis's one?
Yeah, there
They had
was, wasn't there?
And
Yeah.
she was like, "Is that what it's going to be like for us?" Asking questions, and she was just so knowledgeable for such a young child. She asked the right questions. It wasn't even a case of you had to tell her like what we were doing. She kind of had it in her head already.
Yeah.
She's just it was amazing watching her, and I've always said she amazes me all the time when you see her with like the way she interacts with the children, and the way she makes friends and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just she just took it all in a stride, like Jenna said.
So what was that first placement like then?
A whirlwind to start with. Yeah.
That's a great word to use. Yeah,
We were kind of. I remember getting a phone call about a referral. And we were told, it was on the Friday, but we were told we wouldn't know till the Monday whether the child would need placing because it had to go into court. So I'd actually worked the night shift on the Sunday night. I remember getting woken up at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and you got a phone call around the same time, didn't you?
Yeah, I was working I'd stepped into work as a TA, as a cover. So I was in the school working, wasn't I? And I got the phone call when I was on my break. So it was all a bit,
But we were basically told the placement they had in mind for us wasn't going to go ahead. But we had another one which was emergency. Would we be interested? And it was 2 little girls who were just under 3 months old. So we were kind of like, we can't say no. It's just something just hit us, and it was like, we can't say no to this. And by 4 o'clock that afternoon, they were in the house with us.
Yeah.
And it was just, that's a whirlwind. It was like, okay, what do we do? What do we need to do? And
I think because it was twins, we kept everything from our daughter.
Yeah.
So we had one thing of everything. It was a rush trying to get another set of everything, car seat and a double pram and things like that, all the extra bits and bobs. But
friends and family were
so supportive.
Yeah, we obviously rang. Your mum was the first one we rang, and she came round straight after work, just to help us out, and then some of the friends of Riley's school friends, their mums, they knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
You spoke to a couple, and they were like, "We've still got stuff," because a lot of them sort of school parents. They still have young children themselves. They have stuff about,
Dropped
and
all clothes
got
off
stuff for you.
and-
Just stuff to tide you over while you get set up with them, and it was brilliant. And the 2 girls were unbelievable as well. Just having them, it was an amazing experience. Something that although we said we'd foster, we probably hadn't took on board how much it had impacted us in that way, and how much you'd care for them, especially because they were just under 3 months when they come to us.
Yeah, so did you expect to get babies, or did you know what age you wanted to foster, or was babies a surprise?
I think the only thing we'd said was secondary school age was probably the only thing where we'd think about because of our daughter's age at the with her being in junior school. But we weren't expecting babies, I think.
No.
So that was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, we did say we would look at fostering primary school age children again, like Craig said, just taking into consideration Riley's age, and we haven't got any teenagers in our family or anything like that, so you've got to think about that. But then it never really crossed our minds about having babies.
Going back to the feeding of a night and stuff like that.
So what was that like? I mean, it had been 7 or 8 years since you'd done that. What was that like, going back to having a newborn babies?
Well, it didn't last very long. The first few nights were a bit difficult because one of the babies wasn't well when they come to us. So I actually had to go into work, and you phoned me and said, I'm going to have to go to the hospital with her. So which wasn't great. So the first few nights, you were in and out of Alder Hey.
Yeah.
And it was actually your birthday, wasn't it? A couple of days after. So you'd spent the night in Alder Hey and then come home for your birthday, hadn't you? But the two girls, very quickly they settled and
Into a routine.
they slept through the night.
Yeah.
And we were like, this doesn't seem right. This isn't like having 2 babies. But yet they wouldn't wake up. They'd go to bed at 8 o'clock at night and wake up at 8 o'clock next morning.
Wow.
And they were just an absolute dream to have. But yeah, I think the hardest part about having it is it was like the contact side of it. So you'd have contact with parents each day. So it was difficult for us then to start trying to get a routine where we were like, okay, you're gonna have to do today, I'll have to do tomorrow, or you might have to do the pick up and I'll do the drop off. And so it's trying to balance everything around, especially with picking Riley up from school as well. So it's that juggling was the hard part.
Yeah, well, I think once we got used to that, though, you do settle in. It's like a new routine then, isn't it? You know, we did settle into it pretty quickly, but
and you do look back at times and go, how did we do that?
We do it?
But you make it work, and it didn't seem like it was an effort in the end. It was brilliant, and literally the support we had from the agency working with Fostering Solutions, it was like our supervising social worker was constantly on the phone to us. How are you getting on? She'd come out and do her visits, and she'd help us out. But even her managers and the other people in the office, they knew who we were, and they'd ask questions all the time, how he's getting on. Especially our Naomi, who's our supervising social workers manager, she'd be on the phone. She'd come out if our social worker was off.
Wasn't available.
Naomi would come out, and there's plenty of times she'd been in our house as well, doing catch-ups and making sure we were okay. And you felt like you had
support.
Yeah. You never felt by yourself, or you know, if you had any worries about anything, there was always someone there to help you.
Yeah, not for 1 minute. I mean, the first month was a bit difficult with birth parents being not having children in care before, so they were trying to get used to not having the children with them. So there was some difficulty around that, but the support we got to get through it, especially being new foster carers and not knowing what to do at the time, we were supported so much. And then we had family and friends as well who were always there. So it was just, I think we just, once that first month was out the way, we kind of breezed through it, and became the norm.
Yeah.
And then 13 months down the line.
Yeah, I was going to say, so how long did you have the twins for then?
Yeah. So it was 13 months in total. We got a lot of the first milestones with them.
Which it was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely to see.
First birthdays,
walking as well.
Yeah, and it's funny when you think back, you know, even like I remember the first time one of them smiled at me, and, you know, you remember those little moments and things, and we put together a sort of memory book and photographs and tried to write their memories and their milestones in that book as well, so they had that to look back on when they're older. But yeah, we had a lot of first crawling, walking, first tooth. It was lovely.
Yeah. And one thing that people do talk about going into fostering, I think a big reservation is, how do you give a child back? How do you move them on? You know, how do you do that?
I think
difficulty.
Yeah.
It is difficult, and still you can't shy away from it, especially when you've got a child with you for that long, and especially from such a young age as well, because you do see all the first milestones. They see you as their caregiver because they don't know no difference. So to them, you are everything at that point, because you're the one that feeds them, changes them, you know, looks after them when they're not feeling well. You know, especially as a baby, you've got to cuddle a baby because they're not. You know, that's what they want. They want arms. So it's hard to do.
It's hard for us as well, but I don't think we realise how hard it'd be for our families too, because our families are so, like, you know, my nan is really involved with helping us with fostering. You know, they've been through their own assessment process as well, and I think we didn't realise how much that would impact them too. When the girls were ready to move on. Because they are the part of your family, but it's when you're actually going through. So we transitioned the girls through to adoption, and it's when you see them with their new family, that's when you realise that's what I'm doing it for. Yeah. You know, we've been a part of that.
Yeah.
So a real positive building block in their journey.
Yeah, I think they're so happy, and it's like that's their life set up now, and you know they're going to be loved, and everything's brilliant for them. But yeah, there was a moment during the transition where they'd gone out for the day with the adoptive parents, and we sat down just to pack some stuff away. I guess you know, didn't it?
Yeah.
And the house was deadly silent.
Yeah. Because
you know, Riley had gone to school as well, so it was just us two in the house for the change. Yeah. And it was like, what do we do?
Yeah.
We were literally packing clothes away because they were leaving us like 2 days later. And yeah, it was just, you had a real moment where you just broke down in tears, didn't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was difficult. And the day they went was obviously really difficult. They come round to pick them up, and they're such lovely people, and they were like, look, we'll let
stay
you know
for a coffee and stuff as well. And, it kind of like...
Yeah, it become harder the longer it took, the harder it got
Cool.
before they left. But then you stand outside waving them off, and I felt like I was just trying to hold back tears because you were upset, Riley was upset. So I'm trying to like not get upset myself, so Riley didn't get too emotional. But I think the next 3 or 4 days after that were very difficult. But as part of the transition process, you do still have to go and see them for a few weeks afterwards.
Which I worked well, because we got to see where they were living, and and how they'd settled into their routine. So that was great, wasn't it? And we could see, and it was good for Riley to see that they were okay and that's their life and things like that as well.
Yeah, and the massively positive impact that you'd had on them, that must feel really rewarding and really satisfying for you, does it?
Yeah, it is, because you don't. People tell you all the time while you're going through the whole placement, when you have your reviews, when you have visits, no matter who the social worker is, whether it's from the council or whether it's from the agency you work for, they'll come and tell you how well you're doing, but you don't really. You take it in your stride and you go, okay, yeah, because no one's ever good at taking the compliments. You go, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then it's not until afterwards you go, do you know what? The development them girls had with us, I'm actually proud of myself for doing it. But yeah, they're just unbelievable. 2 unbelievable girls who are going to have such a lovely life. Yeah. And it's great to have been part of that for the first 12 months or so.
And at the end of a placement, as you say, you get that chance to sort of pause and look back and go, wow, we've done a good job there.
Well, we definitely said we were having a break after it, weren't we? Because it was so emotional. And I think it lasted, maybe about 6 weeks.
Yeah, that was it.
And we
were ready then.
We took a respite placement for a week just to kind of test the waters. Yeah. And that was a little difficult, only because the 2 boys that we took for respite, they were at their own routine and they're coming to a strange house for a week. But they were such lovely little boys as well, and you just couldn't fault the way they were. Consider, everybody's this idea of children in care, but it's not like that at all. No. The children are so lovely, and they were so well behaved. It was just a strange environment for them that they had to get used to, as well as us getting used to them being there. Yeah. But that was a week, and I think after that we kind of knew, we're ready to do it again.
Yeah. So you're on your 3rd placement now, and you've got another baby, haven't you?
Yeah. He was 4 days old when he came to us. Wow. So that was a strange one. Yeah. But that, when you talk about night feeds and things like that before, that this was a reverse. It went straight back to 3 times a night to start with. Okay. So that was a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So both of you work, don't you? You know, I think sometimes people think when you foster, that's it, you've got to give up your career, you've got to completely change your life. You both work. So tell us about your careers and how fostering has sort of fit into those.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
Yeah. So I work as a dance teacher. I've always been involved in performing arts, and I work for a teacher training college part-time, and then I'm head of a school in the city centre as well. And it just balances perfectly as well. And it's great as well, the children as well. I mean, when we had the twins, they can be involved in things like that, because we do things like baby groups and classes as well. So that was lovely that we could bring them and get them involved in what I was doing. But yeah, my hours fit perfectly around, and then because with it being sort of self-employed, I can balance it and I can choose when I'm working, or I can change hours around if, anything pops up like a meeting or contact and things like that. I can always adjust if needed, but it does. We've sort of got that balance, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah. And Craig, you work as well, yeah?
Yeah, so I've worked in warehousing since I was 18. I'm in management positions now. So my sort of role involves, I can joke about sometimes it's like I'm babysitting adults, which it's a lot more difficult than actually fostering, because adults come with a lot more different issues, especially in the workplace. So I kind of test my leadership skills a lot when I'm when I'm working, which a lot of it transitions into fostering as well. Because I am joking when I say babysitting adults, but it's like the way you would deal with a child of say 6, 7, 8, 9 years of age, you can't actually do that with an adult, which sounds really strange, but it's the way you speak to them, the way you engage with them. And I think Jenna gets this a lot because the way she engages with children, it's just, it's so easy to change that from being in the workplace to actually being at home.
Yeah, there's a lot of transferable skills, dealing with conflict or, things like that. You find that really it crosses over quite a lot.
Yeah, very, very easy. Talking about being about self-aware. Self-awareness is massive in fostering because, you've got to know what's going on around you the whole time and who you're talking to, what you're saying. But you're also doing that in the workplace, and you, especially with children around you, you've got to be careful of conversations that are going on, especially between parents and things like that. And you don't realise how transferable skills are from your job within an office, within a warehouse, within any sort of sports setting, how transferable it is to just looking after a child.
And when you first went into fostering, you were thinking about it and you applied, did you think, we're going to have to give up our jobs? Did you think that your career might have to change?
I think I personally did. I especially
I think we had the
with it being, we did have that conversation. I think with it being, again, with COVID, because I wasn't working, I was like, it's fine. I'll be the main carer. I can step back. I don't have to do as many hours. I can stop working here. I can stop working there. Because you were full-time employed, whereas I was the self-employed. But then once we got the placement, and we realised, no, we can fit things around this because, you're working nights, a night shift. So I was with the babies or the children of the night time, did the night feeds and things. And then, I got up, maybe take them to contact. And then Craig would get up after he's had his sleep and took over. So we really do fall into that routine, don't we?
And ultimately it was that thing as well. It was Jenna's career. She'd worked hard to get to where she was within the dance world, and I personally didn't want her to give all that up just because we wanted to foster together. So it fit perfect, as she said, and it was for her to be able to carry on doing that work that she loves doing, as well as then going into fostering that we love doing that as well. It was just, it was perfect overall, wasn't it?
Yeah, and did you feel like through the assessment they were always keen for you to keep your careers and they wanted to support you in that?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we did have conversations during the assessment, not just between us, but with the people that were doing the assessment for us, and they were very supportive and said, well, this is what you can do, this is the sort of things that you can look at. But it's ultimately down to you, and we were very honest with each other about it. And like you said, I think it was the case that it was easier for you to give up some work, which ultimately you didn't have to do and we didn't want you to do. But if it had to come to it, it would have been that way.
They were supportive in explaining to us that we can have family who can be assessed, who can look after the children as and when we need, the little things, because obviously, we still want a little date night or to go to pictures or something like that. So they were really great in explaining, okay, well, if you name people who you want to look after the children while you go out, or say if Riley had a dance competition or something like that, and they, did all that process with us and did the assessment for some of our family members, and that was great. And they always feel really supported as well. When they come and do their visits and things, I mean, my nan says now, if I was 20 years younger, I'd be going through this now. She said she'd be doing it, wouldn't she? So.
Yeah, and she always says as well, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But she takes it in a stride as well, and your mum helps out us, and she's also been approved to come and look after the children when we need to go out, and she loves it as well. She it takes time off them, don't get me wrong. It's like, but they love coming to do it, and they do say, well, I'll take them, don't worry, anytime you want. And it's been good for us, hasn't it? It's been good. It's been good overall.
It's had a positive effect on your whole family, really. Yeah.
And as Jenna said, we seen that when the first placement left, how upset they were, and it wasn't just your nan because she looked after them or your mum. It was like your brother and sister. Everyone had to come round and say goodbye to them, and there was a point where I think it might have been your brother come round, and he had to leave, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, it was your sister, yeah. And she had to leave, and we were like, we're the ones who've been fostering them, you know,
Yeah.
how do you think we feel? But you didn't realise how much it impacted them and how much they love the fact that we do it.
Yeah. So you're 18 months in now, you're on your third placement. You know, what do you see the future looking like? Do you think you're going to be one of those couples who are, 80 going, we've been doing this for years and years and years, you know?
Well,
We haven't looked that far ahead. I don't think.
know.
But it's funny though, because we was even talking about it on the way here in the car and things like that. And I would take as many babies as possible. Like, it's one of them. I'm very much, I think now we've been through that process once with the twins. We know what to expect. So we feel so prepared this time. Because
not that it gets any, sorry, I'm going to talk
it's all right.
Not that it gets any less difficult.
Yeah.
It's just more, I think we're more prepared for it. So we know what emotions are going to come.
Yeah.
Because we have a rough idea with the placement we've got, what's coming next and sort of time scales. So we can start preparing ourselves. And that's good.
When the twins did leave us, we had like a therapeutic service, TAPS, which is provided by Fostering Solutions as well. And to us, that was invaluable, wasn't it?
Amazing.
Like, that was just fantastic to have somebody just sit and listen to you, and because a lot of the times, I know you said before, people say, oh, I don't know how you do it. And they don't. Whereas this, Deborah, she just sat and listened, and just to have someone who we could just talk to. And
I still remember the first thing she said to us was, I don't want to know about daily logs. I don't want to know about reviews. I don't want to know about this. It's about you and what you're doing. I'm not there to do this side of it. I'm there to talk to you and see what's going on and offer advice. And that's what she did. And she sat and listened to us for about 5 or 6 weeks. It was like literally every week for a couple of hours, 5 or 6 weeks in the build up to the girls going. And it prepared us so much and helped us out.
Yeah, so you feel like you really do get that emotional support. It's not just box ticking and admin, you really get supported.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. You can tell by the conversation you're having. It's not, if when someone's engaged with what you're saying, and you get that instant feedback from them, and it's, you knew she was just had our best interests at heart when she sit and talk to us. And that service that they provide was just, we didn't ask, we didn't know about it. It was, this is what we can offer you. Would you be interested in it? This is what the benefits are. And when you have that first session, you're like, oh my God, it was worth it.
Yeah.
And you come out and you're like, it's like everything just like lifts and you feel so much better. But going back to your question about what to see in the future, I think we've only looked about the next 3-4 months ahead. What we're going to do. We said we'll have a little break
just to sort of reflect and get organised again, like put the clothes away, get the box, we're sort of set up a system now. We've got that's 0 to 3 months, that's 3 to 6. It's all labelled in boxes up in the loft ready. Boys on one side, girls on the other side. So we've got that balance. Because the little boy we've got with us now, bless him, he's got pink blankets and like we've got toys that are pink, and it's like, it's one of them, isn't it? But so it's sort of getting everything back in order and we've been lucky, because when he come to us as well, because we had girls and we'd had our own daughter, we had nothing for boys. So just one thing we did do, we reached out to a couple of places, one up in Crosby who did like packs for newborns. So I spoke to them and said, look, we've got some bits, but as foster carers we haven't actually had a lot. And I thought they might turn around and say, no, we can't really use this service because it's not your child. The lady there was just so supportive, and she said, no, it's amazing, come in, I've got this, I've got that for you. And she was trying to give me a brand new pram and everything. I'm like, oh, it's okay, we've got that. She's like, no, take it. And she was just like, no, you're gonna need it. And I was like, when we're done, it's great now. We spoke to them. We've got a little relationship with them now, so we'll be passing on things that we don't need to them as well. So
you end up with so many clothes. You end up with a lot of stuff that doesn't get worn. They're pretty much like when you have your own children, because they grow so quick. You have loads of stuff that doesn't get worn. You think, I'm going to give that to someone who's going to need it. But you meet so many people who are like that, who are in need and things like that. So it's been brilliant.
So taking stock over the last couple of years, obviously it's been such a transition, such a new beginning for you both. How has fostering changed your lives? If you could just sort of sum it up, how has it changed your lives for the better, really? It seems like the pair of you are just loving it so much, getting so much from it. You know, can you sort of sum it up for us?
I'd say my personal point of view, hectic but rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You've got to expect it'll be full on as a parent, but it's hectic and rewarding, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It is. It's a bit of a whirlwind, but you do fall into a routine, and it is such a rewarding thing to, and especially now when we're transitioning children to new families. I mean, we're quite friendly with them and stuff. You meet so many lovely people, and it's just a great thing to be a part of. It really is.
And I would say to anyone who's interested in fostering, if you want a big confidence boost, become a foster carer, have a baby, and walk around Asda. it's unbelievable. The amount of times you get stopped by people who ask you, "Oh, how's the child?" And when you tell them, "Oh, they're a foster child," or you're looking after them, that the looks you get, and everyone wants to praise you. It's a massive confidence boost.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about that? You know, when you tell people like what you do, and you know, what sort of response do you get, and how does it make you feel?
I mean, we don't tell everybody, do we? I mean, we laugh. I had the twins and walking around Asda, and people, "Oh, you look fantastic. How, you know?" Thank you. I just thought, I'm not going to tell you. I'll just take that compliment. But we don't tell everybody. But
it's when it's if someone says, "Oh, his dad looking after you today," or his mum, and you have to kind of just correct them a little bit, because you don't want to say, "Yeah, I'm dad," or whatever, because it becomes a spiral then. So you just say, "Oh, they're a looked after child," and they might ask, "Oh, how long have you had them?" All that kind of stuff. But the usual thing is you get the head tilting, sort of thing, and people then go, "It's amazing what you're doing." That's the one thing everyone says, "I don't know how you do it. It's amazing."
Yeah, because a lot of people would maybe never have thought of fostering, or, you know, looking after other people's children, essentially. Why do you think it is so important to do? Why is it so important?
I think from a humanitarian point of view, without getting too political, how can you not look after a child who's in need? In a perfect world, nobody should have to do it. But unfortunately, people have issues, people have things that happen in life, and the children need looking after. And for this country to have such a big problem with it, in my point of view, it's criminal. We shouldn't be in this point, and it's taking normal people, average people on the street to become foster carers to try and solve this problem. So to not get too political about it, there should be more done, but through the help of people who want to do it, it's the only way it's gonna get fixed, and it's the only way children are gonna have a nice life. And unfortunately, some children only have a nice life and be in a caring environment. And it's what every child deserves.
Yeah, and if anybody watching or listening to this, you know, was thinking about it, you know, what would you say to them?
I'd say ask the advice. Don't be afraid to dip your toes in. It doesn't have to, you know, just making that little initial inquiry doesn't mean you're committed to it. You know, we never felt under pressure at any point that we had to follow that through. It was always explained to us each step of the way. If we wanted to pull out at any point, we could. Each part of the process was detailed to us. We knew what to expect, and we were never under any pressure. So I think that's what a lot of people do. You know, they go, "Oh, I don't know how to approach it." Just make that initial inquiry, do your research, look into it. You'll still get your eyes opened once you're in it, you know, once you start doing it. We're still learning all the time, but you know, we do training, as much training as possible. If there's anything we're unsure of, we ask, and there's so much support out there. It's not as scary as what people think. And again, it's just that it's a rewarding thing to do. And a lot of people, when they say, "I don't know how you do it," and I say, I didn't know until I have done it. And if we didn't, who else is there to do it? So we need need to. Yeah.
Ultimately, it might not be for someone, you know. But if it's interesting, you just, as Jen said, ask the advice, just ask the right questions, find out as much as possible, and then make your decision. But there'd be so many people out there who think they can't do it, but they'd probably be amazing carers, and it's just getting those people to just look at the application at least, and that's the main thing, because I say there's so many people out there who've probably got homes that they can provide a loving environment in, and to help someone. And it's not even about young children; it's older children. It's young mothers with babies. There's such a varied type of care to go through that. Just go and have a look. That's all to say. Go and have a look and see if it does suit you. Because the more people that do it, the better. The better the situation be in the Northwest, the better it be in England, the better it be in the UK. And that's all you can do.
Jenna and Craig, it's been wonderful speaking to you both. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.